Welcome back to this episode of Dare to Soar. My name is Laura Beth Richardson. I'm the Intermediate Dean at Pinnacle Classical Academy. I hope everybody is having a wonderful February. Today with me I have Miss McGinnis, who is our K-3 Dean at our elementary campus. Welcome
Happy to
back.
be here. Thank you.
So we have some very cute photos coming up for you guys. You recently had a parade at your school.
We did.
Okay, tell us about, and this is something you do every year, right?
It is. The kindergartners learn all of the Letterland characters really starting the first week of school. Letterland is our phonics program, and as they learn more about the characters, they really fall in love. And they get to choose one of the characters at the end. Once all of the letters have been taught, they get to choose a character to dress up like, and then they have a parade at school and walk around the kindergarten and first grade halls. All the boys and girls from kindergarten through third grade line the halls and cheer for them. We play the Letterland song, so everybody flies into Letterland together, and the boys and girls just wave and smile, and then the older boys and girls get to remember when they did that as a kindergartner as well. So we have Quarrelsome Queen, Noisy Nick with the drum.
So when you say this is a phonics program, so for those of you at home, if you're not sure about phonics, tell us what's the difference between learning the name of a letter and phonics? Like, how does that?
So phonics really encompasses learning the names of the letters and the sounds the letters make as well. And Letterland is strictly a phonics program. It's not a reading program. It's just strictly what we use to teach phonics.
So when I'm hearing you say Quarrelsome Queen and Noisy Nick, so this is how they're remembering
the letter name, the letter sound, and they are introduced with the character, but then slowly the character is pulled out and the boys and girls remember the letter name and the letter sound.
So I would imagine this is something that really grabs their attention.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah, this is very, as I say, very K-3. Like, this is something I can tell. I mean, and who is this zebra character? I saw a couple zebras in there.
Oh, this is Zigzag Zebra.
There's Zigzag Zebra must have been very popular. There's quite a few zebras out there.
Yes, yes. Several boys and girls chose Zigzag Zebra.
Oh, and so let's see. I see an apron. What is that?
We have Mr. A, the apron man, and he makes the long A sound. So you'll see all the pictures on the apron begin with long A. That's Miss Holland, one of our kindergarten teachers there, right beside Zigzag Zebra. And then two more. There's Miss Pearson and a little Josie Barnes.
Oh, well, I think it's so sweet when you said the older kids get to see these guys walk the halls, and they know, like, when I was in that grade, I did that. And so it kind of comes full circle, because when they come to 412, when our seniors get their cap and gown at the end of the year, they do a walk through all of our kids, 4th and 5th grade especially. They're in the hall, and our seniors walk through. And so it just kind of, it's very sweet when you think about our older kids seeing our younger kids, and their younger kids are looking up to them.
Right, they get to do a walk the first year they're with us and the last year they're with us.
Yeah, that is so sweet. I love it. I love it.
They do enjoy it.
Thank you for sharing. I'm gonna remember those names. Zigzag Zebra. That's kind of fun to say.
They're hard to forget.
So true. I bet you have become very well acquainted
with
all the characters.
Yes, I have.
So I wanted to take a moment and kind of hop over to 412 land, and I wanted to specifically talk about our PE teachers in the middle school world. Okay, so for those of you at home, when kiddos come to the 412 campus in 4th and 5th grade, they have their interdisciplinary like they would at K3, right? So, you know, one day of the week they go to music, the other day of the week they go to art, PE, you know. So when they come to 4th and 5th grade, that continues. And they also get recess. So there may be a day where they had PE for their interdisciplinary. Some people may call those specials. And then also in the afternoon, they have recess time. Well, when they move up to middle school world, recess is something that isn't just, I would say, age appropriate at that point. However, what we have worked into our schedule is every day, every middle schooler has PE, right? And so it's perfect for our middle school folks because they need that movement.
They're still getting physical activity.
They need the physical activity. They need an outlet, right? And so I'm always impressed, you know, by the structure that our PE teachers provide the kids. So it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of coordinating. They're sharing the gym. And by the way, our gym, I mean, we love it. It is beautiful. It is such a wonderful space to use, not only for our PE, of course, for our athletic teams. You see those state champion banners hanging in the back. Yeah, I'm just going to point those out. We see some of our sponsors lined up there too. So again, we love the space. It's a beautiful space, beautiful gym. So what you're going to see, the first photo here I want to talk about is one of our PE teachers, Miss Coleman, who is no stranger to the charter school world. This is her second year with us, and she has been such a wonderful addition. And so when I walked in, I'm like, what are these guys doing with their notebooks on the ground? So when I went to check that out and see, what are you guys doing? The students were showing me in their notebooks, they have these activity sheets kind of glued in to keep it all organized. And what they do is they start estimating, okay, in challenge 1, we're going to do squats, push-ups, skier jumps, mountain climbers, and holding a plank. And so what they do, and it's called an AMRAP challenge, so as many rounds as possible is what that stands for.
Oh, okay.
So the first thing they do is they say, okay, in 30 seconds, how many squats can I do? Okay, so they write that down in the first column. Then they go to the next, the push-ups, the modified push-ups. So they say, okay, in 30 seconds, I think I can do 15. So they go down, and then they keep their notebooks with them on the floor. She has them stand up, and she'll say, okay, the timer's ready. We're doing squats, go. So for 30 seconds, so this photo was one of my favorites. It's the kids, this is when they're doing the plank. And you see Miss Coleman down there doing one with them. She's just fantastic. She just gets right in there and she's modeling, you know, appropriate form. And but you can tell, like when I walked in, these kids have done this before. This is something they're used to, and I love that they're setting goals for themselves. And it's a challenge, but it's also a challenge at everybody's ability level, right? Everybody's being active. Everybody is setting goals for themselves. So healthy competition is a good thing, but it's also good to compete against yourself. You know, I said I could do 15 squats in 30 seconds, but I actually did 20, right? So it kind of gives them something to work for. And as they move through the year, they're able to look back at this and say, well, when I started, I was just doing this many, and now I'm doing this many.
A very clear way to see their growth. That's awesome.
They also run a mile. They do the mile run, and they track their progress there too. And then our PE teachers put up the stats outside of their classrooms in the hall. So all of our middle schoolers that walk by can see, okay, who's in the top 3 of running the mile this time, who's fastest. What's funny is we have some siblings in the middle school hall. Like we may have an 8th grader with a 6th grade sibling, and they're trying to beat each other. They'll go by that week and see, okay, where's my brother on this chart? Did I beat him this week? And, you know,
good healthy competition.
Yeah, between siblings. So
yes.
Funny. So one of the final pictures I want to talk about is our other PE teacher, Mr. Metcalf. A lot of people call him Coach Metcalf. So he also coaches baseball for us. He does a fabulous job with our young men. Just high expectations. He's always very professional and such a great role model for our young men. But here in this photo, they are playing pickleball. And again, I want to go back to the amount of structure they provide and the amount of just specifics. Like before the kids even jumped into this activity, they knew how to keep score. They knew how to hold the paddle. They knew where to stand. Like all the little things that they need to know to make this work. Because I don't know about you, but when I hand a middle schooler a paddle, I get I could be slightly concerned, just a little, you know. But
he really set the stage for success.
he did,
Yeah.
and so I love it because it keeps our kids active. It lets them engage in something that otherwise, you know, I've never played pickleball myself,
right.
but it was interesting to see them learn the process of what that's like, and they discover their strengths. And so, and I know in a little bit y'all are going to hear from our athletic director, Mr. Gosey, and Ms. Barnes, who helps coach swimming. But our athletic program has just exploded with the amount of interest and the amount of work that Mr. Gosey has put into our athletic program and all of our wonderful coaches. Our PE folks are providing that opportunity for them to learn. This is how you play this game. This is how you stay active. This is how you stay in shape. And I think that just goes beautifully into our athletic program. So they work together so well.
Absolutely.
So that is all the bragging I have to do for now. I'll brag some more on the next episode, I think.
Right.
So
We'll be back.
We'll be back. So, and we hope you'll be back for the next segment of Dare to Soar. Thank you for joining us.
We always have had
That's
a
true.
certain courtesy to other people upon their retirement or somebody's passing.
Well, I got something nice to say about our retirement.
Well, we're not.
Good riddance.
I wish that you.
First, he put giant flagpoles on the White House lawn like it was a Buc-ee's, and then he cemented over the Rose Garden. Then he turned the Oval Office into a place that looks like a New Orleans cat house.
Well, I'm sure President Obama evaluated both candidates and went with the best one, better one.
Yeah, one of
But
them
I
had a D
was-
by her name.
Well, one cannot help but wonder why. Betsy, one possibility would be that the Hurricanes are now afraid to enter the newly named Gulf of America while Trump's in the White House.
She gets her hair from her mom, her eyes from her dad, and her drugs from her home medicine cabinet. Fact: more people die from drug overdoses than from car crashes or gun violence. And over 50% of those deaths are from prescription drugs. Prescription drug abuse is preventable. 1. Secure and take regular inventory of our medications. 2. Dispose of unused or expired medications. 3. Share this message with others. Be aware, don't share, lock your meds.
Welcome back to Dare to Soar. I'm Jeff Ziegler, Dean of Academics at Pinnacle Classical Academy, and I'm joined by Monica Dellinger, our Dean of Secondary Education.
Thanks for that introduction, Mr. Ziegler. I'm excited to be back with each and every one of you during February this month. We are celebrating, or just celebrated, Valentine's Day. We have lots of good things going on at Pinnacle Classical. Mr. Ziegler, we're still in the prime of our full enrollment time period for new families to consider coming to us, and there are lots of things about charter schools that people do not know. One of our focuses, the main focus of us, is the classical approach in education. Walk us through what classical approach means within our school setting.
Sure. Just the overarching purpose of classical education is to teach students how to learn for themselves. In establishing Pinnacle Classical Academy, our school's founding board drew on The Lost Tools of Learning, a lecture delivered by Dorothy Sayers at Oxford in 1947. At the end of her essay, Sayers concluded, "For the sole true end or purpose of education is simply this, to teach men how to learn for themselves, and whatever instruction fails to do this is effort spent in vain." And so the purpose of classical education is simply to teach students how to learn for themselves. And I recommend to our audience, feel free to Google Lost Tools of Learning by Dorothy Sayers to read more about that. In addition, the founders of our school drew on another thinker, Leonard Peikoff, a philosopher, author of Teaching Johnny to Think. And in more technical language, he saw education as the systematic training of the conceptual faculty by the young by means of supplying inessentials both in content and method. The purpose of education, Peikoff said, is to take a perceptual level creature, someone who perceives, and train him over many years to become a mature, cognitively self-sufficient, informed being. So Peikoff, in more technical language, is saying what Sarah said, that the purpose of classical education, at least as we understand it at Pinnacle Classical Academy, is to teach students how to learn for themselves. And I can discuss different facets of classical education, but first I wanted your thoughts on the impact that you have seen classical education have, both as an administrator at Pinnacle and as a parent as well.
The classical approach for me was something that I really was not exposed to in my undergraduate program or my graduate program in education. And so when I came to Pinnacle, I had a lot to learn in regards to the classical approach. I came to Pinnacle as a classroom teacher, but also brought my children to attend Pinnacle as students. And at the time, my daughter was entering kindergarten, my son was entering second grade, and none of us were familiar with the classical approach. But from the student experience, what my children experienced every day is the fact that they were learning and then they were using. And so I can remember, and the only time they've gotten to go to Disney World, but I can remember clearly as my daughter was in first grade, my son was in third grade, we were at Epcot, we were at the Hall of Presidents, and as the different presidents were speaking, they could name those presidents as first graders and third graders. So in the early ages, they were not only just learning how to read, but they were learning from the reading as they were acquiring those reading skills. And our programming in the lower grades, in our K-3 grades and then our 4th through 8th grades, is really about what do you do with that information once you acquire it. And so it's not just a matter of when you and I were in school about learning about the 3 R's, but it really is about that integration. So they're not only learning how about phonemic awareness in reading and decoding, but then they are learning from their reading from presidents to geography to science to applications of those sciences. So from the student perspective, it really is not just about the content that they're learning, but how do I apply this and what can I do with it beyond school years. From the teacher standpoint, the piece that was so rewarding to me was in the programming that we used, there was such a thorough and well-intended scope and sequence that I was then able to make that curriculum my own to better serve the whole child, not just the academic checklist that I needed to make sure that the state of North Carolina wanted me to make sure that I was crossing off and did they learn it, but I was able to focus on the whole. Not only have I taught the skill, but have they mastered that, because I knew that I was laying in whatever grade I was teaching, I was laying the foundation for them to use that to apply later on. You were talking about the facets, and really when we look at the schooling experience in the lower grades, it's really when they're learning more of that grammar, and then the upper elementary and the middle school is when they're going more into the logic stage, and then in the high school stage they're going into the reasoning. As I've come back to Pinnacle as an administrator, the things that I love, I come into classes all the time and I'm listening to students truly understand how to debate. They're actually listening to others' opinions, but then they can share their opinions, and they're doing it in a conversational style, and they're asking sound questions to better understand. And that's what the classical approach is. And our students, they're doing it each and every day as the adult, as the mom, as the teacher, as the administrator. Some days it just makes you, it just puts you in your feels. And it's like, oh my word, our students are far outperforming on a daily basis what most are even exposed to in their entire career. I love the classical approach. I love everything that it's about it, because when we say we're focusing on the whole child, we are. We're not just focusing on the academic pieces of it, but we are focusing on that character piece of it. We're teaching those virtues, and when we teach virtues, even down to just classroom management as a classroom teacher, if somebody's not making a good choice, I'm like, How are you proving this? Talk me through this. Explain your reasoning for making that choice. So again, you do get to focus on that whole child. And that is, I think, a special uniqueness that Pinnacle Classical has to offer. And it's something that we are very much afforded in our charter setting, that I would encourage each and every parent to come visit us at any time so that you can see how we do focus on that classical approach, but we do it with a well-intention of meeting and serving children where they are and in order to move them beyond where they are currently.
Okay. And you referred briefly to the stages of learning. If I may talk about them just for a moment. Dorothy Sayers, in her essay, The Lost Tools of Learning, saw learning as taking place in 3 stages, which she called the grammar, the logic, and the rhetoric stage. In the grammar stage, when students are young, memorization, recitation are really encouraged. In the logic stage, early adolescence, when students tend to talk back for the first time, that's a time really to work with human nature and not against it, by really educating them in logic and critical thinking, in thinking through the material that they've already learned. Then in the rhetoric stage, later on in high school, they learn to give speeches, to debate, to listen to others' arguments, and to develop their own synthesis of various fields. So having become knowledgeable in the grammar stage and thoughtful in the logic stage, they become articulate in the rhetoric stage. So we want to educate knowledgeable, thoughtful, articulate young adults. And thanks so much for sharing how you've seen that in your life as a parent, a teacher, and an administrator at Pinnacle. Thank you, and we'll be back after the break.
Tune in to Senior Moments here on C19 TV. I am Jackie Sibley Newton with Terabella Assisted Living. Whether you are a senior planning for your own future or helping someone make decisions, Senior Moments has got information to share. We talk about the wealth of services, activities, and healthy living options available to you here in our area. That's Senior Moments on C19 and also on C19.tv.
Welcome back to this month's taping of Dare to Soar. My name is Brandon Gosey. I'm the athletic director here at Pinnacle Classical Academy, and I'm joined by Miss Katie Barnes, or Coach Katie Barnes. Miss Barnes is our student success coordinator at our 412 campus, and also our varsity head swim coach, as well as our middle school co-ed head swim coach. So we're glad to be back here to share with you some highlights about the recent months in athletics. So welcome, Coach Barnes.
I'm happy to be here, everyone. We're going to kick off this episode with my favorite sport, obviously, swimming. We have some really great information to share with you guys. Our 6th grade, one of our middle school girls, Sweet Mackenzie Oliver, she placed she received all conference recognition at our Carolina Beltway Athletic Conference almost 2 weeks ago. Here's a picture of the 2 of us together. Mackenzie was our first podium finisher in the history of Pinnacle Swimming, in the history of conference membership. This is our first go around with that. And she placed 3rd in her 50-yard breaststroke. So she was extra excited. Awesome. Both of us were here, but here she is at the end of the meet, proudly wearing her 3rd place bronze medal, and we were very excited for her. So the team was thrilled, we were thrilled, her parents, everyone was really excited, and that all-conference recognition as well has just been the icing on the cake.
I had a chance to join you guys briefly there on Championship Day, being the first time you guys have been in a conference with the middle school. What was that experience like? And I know you've talked to me about just the energy and the excitement at some of these meets. You know, when you go to actually not just only competing, but actually competing for something versus being just like a pickup game of sorts, for a better way of describing it. What was that energy like?
Energy was electric. I mean, a lot of our events were neck and neck. Several of my swimmers barely got out-touched the third place overall finish. And so what was really neat is to see, going into next season, a lot of the athletes that out-touched our Pinnacle swimmers, they're 8th graders. So they're moving on to the high school level next year. So we're ready. We're coming in ready. Awesome. And our swimmers were really intentional with looking at those results and figuring out their placement and where that might lead to them next year. But it was great. And even Mackenzie's 3rd place finish, we were all waiting at the edge of the pool, seeing her come in and touch the wall and secure that 3rd place spot. Several of those events were, within hundredths of a second apart. So it was really neat.
We look forward to seeing swim next season and finishing out the remainder of this season. Yeah. We also, moving from the pool deck to the actual gym floor, we want to highlight Mr. Braylon Gentry. You see him there in the middle, surrounded by his family and friends. Unfortunately, we lost one of his zero balloons that went up into the rafters of the gym in the excitement, but Braylon recently celebrated the achievement of reaching an 1,000-point milestone for his high school varsity career in basketball. And if you know much about basketball at the high school level, this is a milestone that most schools celebrate as a huge achievement. So we would like to congratulate Braylon on that achievement. And then he only becomes the second student in PCA history behind senior Cody Humphreys last year to reach that milestone. So Braylon and Cody have both signed a ball that will remain in our trophy case on campus. And so we are excited to continue to celebrate and develop that lineage of success, both athletically and academically at Pinnacle. So congratulations, Braylon, and to Mackenzie. Very, very proud of you.
Huge, huge. Up next on this episode, we would like to give a shout out, a special thanks to one of our most recent sponsors, Steffi's. As with all of our sponsors, we just want to give a huge thank you to all of your continued support of Pinnacle Classical Academy and what we're doing there with all of our students. We're always looking for more, Mr. Gosi. I know that you are always on the lookout, and any of our viewers that may be business owners or know someone who's a business owner that would like to help support PCA, please reach out. We're thankful for anything and always that continued growth and the support that our sponsors provide.
Yeah, I think Dean Richardson gave us a shout out earlier in the taping where she showed a picture of our gym with those business sponsorships on the wall. So not only are we highlighting those on social media, not only do they randomly appear on our marquee in front of our campus, but they're also on our gym walls, our baseball field fence, our soccer field fence, and so on. So those are getting lots of views continually. So partner with us and let us celebrate your business and PCA athletics where we can work together. One of our upcoming things that we're going to be doing is our annual 50-50 raffle sale with PCA Eagle Athletics. We try and do one collective fundraiser a year with our athletic department, and this happens to be it for the last couple of years. We bring this up not only to say if you want some tickets, reach out to us. All of our athletes will have those soon, but also just to highlight the amazing partnership we have here in Cleveland Community College as we sit not only taping, but also in the partnership of the opportunity of offering collegiate classes to our student athletes at Pinnacle, but also the partnership of being our sponsor raffle, for our sponsor for our raffle this year. So special thanks to Cleveland Community College for partnering with us for the second year to sponsor that raffle to help us continue to do great things for our athletic department as we grow and move forward. So if you want a ticket, reach out and we'll be glad to help you out.
I always enjoy this time of year, hearing all the athletes around campus. They're going to teachers and all kinds of staff members that they see in the halls every day asking, do you want to buy a raffle ticket? You want to buy a raffle ticket? I mean, they're all for it, and they're going after it.
One quick thing that you can't see on the ticket, but the drawing date is going to be on tax day. So what better way than to pay your taxes and win maybe thousands of dollars.
That's right.
So buy your ticket. Thank you.
Last but not least, you know, we recently had our Red Bridges Barbecue Spirit Night, Mr. Go-See. Those are always a great turnout.
Jam and Jay's coming up.
Jam and Jay's is coming up in a couple of weeks. So we look forward to those every night or every time they come around,
Every month,
about monthly.
Sure.
Special thanks to our hosts for those Spirit Nights. We're so thankful, and we look forward to that.
Absolutely.
That community building on those nights as well.
It's as much a fellowship as it is raising funds for
Absolutely,
athletics.
and good food included. Can't go wrong. Well, folks, that is a wrap for this episode for our athletic segment. We look forward to seeing you all next month.